Welcome to KYNDversation, a space for sacred dialogue, honest reflection, and deep listening. I'm your host, Kendra Frazier. KYNDversation was born from my own inner dialogue, my journey of spirituality through life's unfoldings, questions, and becoming. Along the way, I discovered something essential, that transformation often happens not in isolation, but in conversation. In this podcast, I sit with people from diverse faith traditions, spiritual paths, and lived experiences to explore one central question. What does devotion mean to you? And how does your relationship to the sacred shape your life? My hope is that each conversation becomes a light post for those who feel challenged, disconnected, or searching for belonging. And that through our shared reflection, you might find courage, clarity, and deeper connection to yourself. Wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here. Welcome to KYNDversation. I am your host, Kendra Frazier, and I'm so grateful you all decided to tap in today. My next guest is Linda Williams. I am super excited to have her here. She is a childhood friend. I've known her since the age of 14. We're both Sagittarius, so this is unscripted. We don't know where it's going to go, so please forgive us in advance. So Linda Williams is a licensed clinical social worker with more than a decade of experience providing affirming, trauma-informed therapy for LGBTQIA plus adolescents and adults. As a same gender-loving clinician, her work is shaped by both professional expertise and lived experience, creating healing spaces where people can show up fully as themselves without apology or explanation. Linda specializes in supporting individuals navigating identity development, religious trauma, family rejection, discrimination, and the emotional impact of systemic oppression. Her work is grounded in an affirming, anti-oppressive approach that centers dignity, authenticity, resilience, and liberation. She integrates trauma-informed care, cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness practices, and holistic wellness approaches into her work. Linda is also a MAP certified practitioner, trained in MDMA assisted therapy for trauma integration, with a deep commitment to reducing stigma and supporting sustainable healing within LGBTQIA plus communities. She holds graduate degrees in social work and psychology from Edinburgh University and Purdue University, and is licensed in multiple states. Please help me welcome Linda Williams, and make sure you all love, like, share, and subscribe if you already haven't. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Feel like I've been trying to get on here for 10 years. Let's go.
See how Sagittarians like to play each other? Not 10 years. It ain't even been going on for 10 years. See how you do? We're here now.
We're here. I'm like, whoo, I've been ready. Let's go.
So how are you doing? What's been going on?
I'm gonna be honest. It feels like the timeline shifting has been like real. I'm talking like, take me through there, take me through there. So one day everything feel good. Next day it's like, what day is it? So it's just been a lot of growth. I can't complain. I won't complain. Yeah, it's been a lot of growth, and you know me, I'm committed to the best version of me. So I suck it up and I go, sit outside of my garden. That's what I do.
That's it. I love it. I can definitely relate to that. It has been take me through that over the past couple of weeks in my life as well. And I think, it is cosmically, I think so many of us that are tapped in, and even those of us that are not tapped into the frequency that the world is in, we are being called to heal more deeply so we can contribute and be more responsible for how we're co-creating this world that we're living in. So thank you for your transparency and honesty.
Yeah, because my statement has been this to the universe: did I really sign up artists? Okay, I was okay with 2 timelines ago. What we doing? What we doing? Like, this is weird. But no, seriously, it's been a lot in a great way.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. So this is my first question. We have known each other since we were 14. We met in the Love and Learning program that was housed at Davidson College, I think in 1996.
Yes.
And we unlike most Black children, it was a space that was really, really unique. So before we get into just other things, because Love and Learning was such a pivotal moment in my life. What do you remember about the 14-year-old Linda?
She was fake brave. That's what I remember.
Ooh.
Outside, because she was big and strong looking, but inside she was scared of everything. You would never know it. Nobody would ever know it, because at that point I was the defender of people that I loved. So she was fake brave. So to actually leave my hometown and go to a program for like a couple weeks, that was major. Yet that Linda was like, we're going to be here though. We're going to get to where we are now. She knew it. So yeah, she knew it.
I love that. I love that. Love and Learning was an opportunity for us to not only study the classes that we would be taking the upcoming school year, but also an opportunity to be introduced to other ways of learning and being, like channeling. We were introduced to our first Yoruba class in Love and Learning. We had a comprehensive sex education that was really comprehensive at that time. And it was formative for me spiritually in so many ways. How did Love of Learning start shaping you spiritually, if at all, during that time?
The first part of the spiritual shaping didn't come from some of the spiritual stuff at Love and Learning. It came from the drama class with the great Ruth Sloan. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
She was not here for any of the nonsense. She wasn't here for no shrinking and no hiding. It was like, say it with your chest out, front and center. And I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. And then I got introduced to Yay, Miss Sandra, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's her name. And we just started doing stuff that was unheard of. You know my history. I grew up Pentecostal. This lady is pouring water into a plant, speaking a different language.
Had us hugging trees at
14. You know, my family was like, what? Sarah, you might want to go down there and see what they doing here. Like, my family was like, hold on. You hugging trees, you're sitting barefoot, you're meditating, and you feel good? And I was like, yeah, actually, I feel pretty calm, which is scary, because I was waiting for some Holy Ghost to come get me. But I ain't gonna go too deep in all that.
We got to tap in. We only got 7 minutes and 53 seconds, and you done already talked about Pentecostal and the things we was introduced in Love and Learning. Yeah. So wow. So when it comes to, and I love that you mentioned this juxtaposition that you experienced at Love and Learning with growing up Pentecostal and then being introduced to these other modalities of wellness and of connection. What was it like growing up in a Pentecostal church in Salisbury, North Carolina?
Goodness, God, how many ways can I answer that? It was a Tubi movie. You know, Tubi movies are those bad movies that you know are terrible, but you can't turn off, right? Tubi, I'm just gonna call it what it is. Now, was it all bad? No. I do remember music, because I'm a musician. I love playing instruments, so that was sticking out my memory. But the indoctrination, the patriarchy, the sweeping sexual violence under the rug, I remember all that. So I knew when I was like 5, I would be looking at my godmom like, hey, Big Mom, why they out here saying this, but they doing this in the streets? And she would be like, baby, eat your peppermint, read your book. Because I was questioning things early on. So I knew that wasn't my calling. That's just what I was born into. Now, it's interesting. I picked 2 different parents, right? Because I believe you pick your parents. Okay. So I picked someone in Pentecostalism, and then my father was an alchemist type, West African. So I've always understood the stars and the moon and believed in all that, and also was scared to go to hell. It was interesting times.
It's quite a combination.
It's like, what am I doing?
It's quite a combination.
So that has shaped where I'm at now. Some of the work I do with schizophrenic patients, right? I tell them, when we talk about, some of them are like scared to make any decision on treatment, if any at all. And I was like, I get it, because my father, if he was still here, he would tell me, if I'm schizophrenic, I'm connected to God, the Most High. my mother would say that the devil took my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
understand that. So I, as much as it felt traumatic growing up, now I'm able to take those pieces and really shape how I do the work in the field.
I love that your childhood experiences, which is like for many of us who do this work, has informed the work that you do with so many who are navigating religious trauma, indoctrination, sexual violence that's been done at the hands of faith leaders. And I want to go back to that. I don't want to sweep
That's
over that
all.
one, because I don't think
Mm-mm.
it is a conversation that's had enough in terms of the lack of integrity and character that so many faith leaders can have when it
Yep.
comes to manipulating people with sacred texts
Mm-hmm.
to be sexually violated.
Yep.
For you, how have you been able to disrupt the patterns within your own family systems when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to those that were impacted by sexual violence? And how do you support people who have been impacted by sexual violence at the hands of fake leaders and in general?
For the soon to be survivors, because quite a few of them that I know, they're not in treatment yet. So soon to be survivors, it's about advocating, like letting them know that you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You got to speak your truth. You got to put sound to some of the things that you've been holding in your chest because it's been quiet, but it's loud. How do I hold the predators accountable? I call them out. I've been calling them out since I was like 15, 16.
Whew.
That's why I don't really get invited to a lot of places with my family functions because they know if I'm on the scene, I'm going to pop off. I mean, there's pending litigation now. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but it's a relative of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Dana has come back and said, you did it.
Wow.
Why are we waiting on the trial? For what? You know? And I remember at probably the age of, 14, being at a church in a different state that was in the organization. And one of the pastors got like a 16-year-old girl pregnant. And all they did was silence him. Mhm.
Mm.
So I've been watching this Tubi movie for a long time. Like, these folks just get to do what they want, and the church is kind of like, well, well, you can't talk about God's people. Don't talk about Bishop. And that's when I really lose it. I'm like, you still giving this person a reverence title?
Mm-hmm.
So I have to keep my distance because professionally, I have a lot to lose if I cross that line. And when it comes to protecting women, it's not above me to cross the line.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I have to just keep my distance and encourage and link them. If they're in my area, here's the people I trust here that can help you. If they're in different states, I get resources for them. My ultimate goal is to have like a support group because unfortunately, I know at least 40 women personally.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. 40
Mm.
minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I want them to have that space where they can talk about some of the heinous things that they've experienced and not feel like it's going against the church or the Bible or Jesus is going to get them because that's what they still believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is heartbreaking that it continues to be swept under the rug. And like you said, it is the institution of patriarchy that so many of our Christian churches, as well as spiritual institutions generally, are underneath. And that comes with a whole bunch of other ways of being and operating that are oppressive.
You
Because
want to know? You want to know what's really pissing me off though?
talk to me.
The organization I was raised in was founded by a woman,
Hmm.
which is rare because it's Pentecostal / holiness. So I grew up with most of the churches had female pastors.
So this is another part of the conversation, is how women oftentimes perpetuate and enable
Correct.
patriarchal
Yep.
systems.
Yep.
Because we want to be tied to the seat of power in some way, because we have also been indoctrinated to believe, many of us, that it is the man who holds the authority, and we don't want to rock the boat, cause conflict, all of that stuff.
Burn it down.
Yeah.
Burn it to the ground is where I'm at in my life. Burn it down.
Ooh,
The
ooh.
whole institution, burn it down. Start over.
Tell
Yep.
me, if we could burn down the church, and I'm not talking about just the Black church,
Right.
I'm talking about the church universal, right? If we could burn it down, how do you envision it being resurrected or being rebuilt?
It would be basic for me. It would be the tenets of love your neighbor as yourself. So I would take care of you like you would take care of me, like I would take care of one of my children or my spouse. It wouldn't be all these rules, regulations. We're going to heaven, you're not. All that would be dismantled. It would truly be about how do you treat your mankind. One of my favorite reggae songs is called By His Deeds. And that's what he talks about. He talks about you can say what you want, but if your deeds don't add up to what you're saying, you're not going to make it in. So it's like, how are you showing up for your community? How are you treating people? How do you treat yourself? All that other stuff I don't have an opinion on. Like the way my brain is set up to read the Bible at this point in my life, I couldn't. Any other sacred text is too much. It's too dense for me. So this is where we would need communal stuff, like how we should, I don't know, live our life and respect each other. But churches would be abolished. They would be banned. I'm sorry. The actual abolished. The building
on toes. My
abolish it. Take it out. Nope.
Ooh.
Build a whole community center. That's the church, where you have housing for homeless people, food bank, clothing bank, people that can come in and do job training and wellness, free stuff. Like that's a church for me. If I can't get any of those needs met, this ain't no church. It's slave ship. Now, I will say there's one church, I guess, that I'll leave standing. It's the church in Virginia. I can't think of the name, but they just raised $1 million and saved 336 families from eviction.
Wow.
That is church. I think last year they raised a couple $100,000 to wipe people's student loan debt. So if your church is doing that kind of stuff, okay, cool, you can say. But the rest of the churches on every other corner, no, man.
Yeah, because there's about 50 million of them on the same corner.
Right. Can we turn one into a home
shelter? Neighborhood still look the same, right?
And it still look the same.
Yeah.
Can we make this a kid resource center or something for after school? No, it's the same old. Absolute abolish it.
Yeah, I love what you're naming, because a church becomes an activation center for tangible transformation, where people's needs are met, where they are invited to really live into whatever their vision is for their life. That the church becomes an incubator of true becoming and expansiveness.
Yeah, and the associate pastor, has to have some clinical training. Sorry, I said it. You shouldn't be out here giving any counseling if you're not licensed. Because I want you to be able to do dual roles, be able to talk that clinical stuff and talk your spiritual stuff and your religious stuff. That's fine. But don't open up Pandora's box and then tell people to just pray.
Yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on the head, which is why I went to social work school, was to be a better faith leader, not to actually have my own practice. I encountered a young man who was maybe 23, African-American, came into the hospital because he attempted to castrate himself, unfortunately with a saw. So you can only imagine what his experience was. I learned in sitting with him that he was struggling with his sexuality. He didn't quite know how to integrate his spirituality and sexuality, and was in a church that was fairly cultish, and definitely practiced biblical literalism. And so he was struggling with whether God was calling him to be a eunuch. He kept feasting. I think the verse was feasting on the verse Matthew 19 about certain people have been called to be eunuchs. And as someone who had just graduated from seminary, I was able to be a new conversation partner and introduced him to this book called What Does the Bible really say about homosexuality? Which is one of the first books that I read that helped me be free as someone that identifies as queer, as same gender loving, as a lesbian. With him, I was just like, I need more skills, more practical. So that's what took me to social work school. So for you, I want to know what your journey has been like, Linda, coming from a Pentecostal church and deciding to embrace yourself as authentically you, being a lesbian who also works with the LGBTQIA plus community. How did you get there?
My brain was like, listen, we can't be ourselves if we're not ourselves. So you have to be out. You have to be open. And you have to also understand that you're going to cross people's paths that had the same journey you started on. Most of the clients that I've ever worked with that are Black for sure in the South, they grew up Pentecostal or holiness. So I got to sit front and center with myself every time. And having that background allowed me to be able to be more transparent and understand their plight. It's not just, oh, just, you got to break away from that narrative. Oh, it's not aligned anymore. It's like that verbiage is cute, but this was something that you did from 0 to 20 years old. Okay. So it's going to take a while to excavate all that nonsense that you ingested out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was able to walk beside them and be like, yeah, I get it. I know how it feels when you hear somebody playing the piano and they start doing that, what is it called, hooping? And your mind wants to immediately go right back into line because it's what you're used to. Mm-hmm. But your new self understands that, no, that's not what you need. You need someone that can validate who you are because of who you are. So it was, because I'm frank with you, I didn't want to work with queer folks when I started. I didn't. I was like, let me just work with teenagers, and that was fun. But it was like, what are you running from? I was still running from me.
Gotcha.
Even though I had been with my wife for years at that point, I was still running away from who I was, still hiding in the shadows, still being overly successful, meaning overcompensating for who I was. And I had to just stop one day and be like, you're enough. You're enough. Go help other folks understand that they're enough. And that's kind of how it all started. And it's been, the road has been interesting, to say the least, in a good way.
Yeah, I love that you named the internalized homophobia that I think so many of us navigate, especially when we're first embracing ourselves as authentically who we are, because you don't know which spaces are going to be accepting or not accepting. And then you get to the point, like you said, where it's just like, I have to recognize that I'm enough. And if this community or these people don't rock with it, then that is what it is. That is what it is. Yeah.
And that was a tough truth, because a lot of those communities and pockets of people are people you love, whether it's friend groups, families, co-workers who you sit and talk to them about their raggedy ass husband all day long, right? The moment you say wife, then it's like, I had to grow through that. Like, listen, you're not gonna play in my face.
Yeah. It's real.
So,
It's real. It's real. When it comes to your ability to still be present with families, this is one of the things that I navigate, but I don't think that I'm still not attached to a person's opinion, but people have a hard time, particularly I'm thinking about family members who, I mean, I've been out since I was 23. I'm 44 now, right? So we've been doing this thing for a while. And I still have a couple of family members that will attempt to share scripture with me, that will attempt to name that I don't need to be a minister, that will, and I imagine you have folks like that in your family too. How do you, and I'm asking this question because there are people who are going to be listening to this, there are parents who are going to be listening to this who have children and aren't sure how to connect. How have you dealt with it? And what would you say to parents who are having a hard time accepting their LGBTQIA plus children?
I'll start with the parents. With the parents, I would tell them, go find a clinician. Go find a clinician that's trained in affirming that their child is okay. Go find a clinician that is not religious based, that's going to keep it 100 with you. They're not here to bash you either, but they're here to get you to understand that your opinion is important to your child. It's essential. And if you keep rejecting them, it's going to be a problem long term, right? To the family members, I do have some, yet because of who I was as a youngster, I was a little unhinged. So they know if you come at me sideways and start wanting to talk about, oh, you should let your hair grow out, or oh, you done lost weight, you're looking more like a lady. And I'm like, what the hell was I looking like? Like, what are you talking? And you know what goes left from there. So I don't have a problem putting people in their place. Like, I actually take pleasure in politically correct checking these folks, because I don't get nasty, because most of these people are elders, like 60 to 80 years old.
Yeah.
I'm also not going to give you no pass. Like, don't come out your mouth weird. Like, you don't have to make a comment that I have on a cotton shirt from the men's section. That's my business.
Yeah.
You have on an ugly dress from Walmart. Now, if I say that, that's all that's going to get remembered, right? So I've just learned to be, I'm direct with my family. They know me by my nickname. So they be like, don't mess with Pig. She don't play that way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And this is a word for all the folks because there's so many older people coming out too,
Yeah.
who are struggling, who are trying to navigate how they hold on to these relationships that they've had for 40, 50, 60 years. And what I will say is that in embracing myself fully and deciding that whoever stays stays and whoever goes goes, there have been people that have come that have become chosen family, and then I've also watched family members take care of their own shit and biases to be embracing of me.
Correct.
Either you'll rise to the occasion or you won't, and I have to
Or
be
you
okay.
won't. And you're
Yeah.
gonna get left behind. If you refuse not to, that's fine. That's your choice. Understand you won't be in my energy. You won't be in my life.
Yeah.
And I will grieve and release whatever I gotta release because I'm human and I do want to hold on to as many relationships at times.
Yeah.
At the
Yeah.
end of the day, if it doesn't feel aligned, my spirit team ain't gonna play with me. So the last 3 to 5 years feels like I've cut off 80% of people that I thought would be lifelong community members, and they're not.
Wow. 80%.
80%. Like, yeah. Because when you're moving in a certain direction and people aren't willing to make that shift, you can't do it for them. As Mr. What's his name? Baba Gregory, as he said, once you put on the magic glasses, you can't unsee what you saw.
It's true.
And you also can't force people to see what you see. That was the toughest lesson for me. It's like, y'all don't get it. You got to do this. You got to eat cleaner. You got to move your body. And they're looking at me like, oh, you're just saying that. And it's like, okay, never mind. I get it. I get what he meant now. They're comfortable. You're not comfortable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I say. Take me through there. It's been going on for a minute. I'm like, I need a break. You know, them plane tickets went high, so I'm going to have to chill out on that too. Woo!
So what is the journey like to have 80% of the people that you thought would be community, you thought would be lifelong, you thought would be present with you, regardless of what was going on in your life? What has that journey been like for you to experience those departures, those ruptures, those transitions in relationships?
I think the first answer that came up was that those disconnections reminded me of wounds that I had to heal. Those are deep wounds that I hadn't healed around protection, security, parenting, nurturing, and all that stuff. Had to heal it. The second part would be going through the stage of feeling like I'm being isolated. Like, what makes me special? Why do I get to get isolated out here when everybody else got their girl groups? They're going out of the country, and I ain't even got friends that's gonna make it through next year. Like, what's happening in my life? And I think now at the point of understanding more about my spiritual practices, it's just about alignment. I've been headed down this road for a very long time. And it's about saying yes. My life looked how it looked because I kept saying no. I kept saying, I don't know about that. No. So now that I say yes, even if it doesn't make sense, even if I'm scared out of my mind, even if I know I'm going to lose people, it always works out and it feels good now. So now I just say yes. I was like, okay, yes. It's very scary here. Nothing really feels certain here, but it feels safe. And that was my biggest thing. Safety was never really established growing up. So now everything feels safe. So when I say yes, there's a level of peace that I experience that I can't recall experiencing ever in my life. So I just keep saying yes. It's like, is it time to switch careers? Sure, yes. Is it time to really lose the weight, not the physical pounds, but the emotional baggage you've been carrying? Yeah. So that's what I do. I just say yes. I say yes to The Dress, one of my favorite shows.
I'm so glad you've been saying yes to The Dress because The Dress looks good on you. The Dress of Liberation. You just dropped some words. Your life looked how it looked before you started saying yes because you have been saying no. And the no was attached to, I imagine, wounds that kept you limited in terms of how you were supposed to be more expansive in the world and having to go back and heal some of those possibly childhood wounds and some of those woundings from internalized messages that come from parents, caregivers, or authority figures in our lives that are misaligned with actually who we were meant to be and called to be in the world. You also named that you started taking your spiritual practices seriously.
Yep.
How have your spiritual practice shifted from being Pentecostal to where you are now? I mean, the work that you're doing now with various populations in terms of MDMA and using plant medicine and other forms of herbal care and remedies to support. How did you work that journey out?
I became a nomad for a long time. Once I walked away from Pentecostalism, I did nothing. I didn't believe in anything. I didn't really talk about anything. I just literally got up every day, did what I did, came home, repeat, rinse, repeat. And then one day it was like, okay, what's your spiritual hygiene looking like? Who do you believe in? What do you believe? Do you believe in your ancestors? Do you have a spirit team? Do you understand energy frequency? So these are all the things that I practice now. And the answer back then was no. It was just Pentecostalism had left such a wound that I was just doing me.
Mm-hmm.
And doing me meant overeating, over drinking, over smoking, not sleeping properly. So I had to clean all that up. And then one day I just started researching and praying more, and things started getting dropped in my spirit. Like, yeah, you need to get your altar up. I think the first person who taught me about an altar was, of course, I call her Mama Yaya. Mama
Yeah.
Yaya taught me that.
Yeah.
He was like, you need an altar. You need an ancestral altar. It doesn't have to be elaborate. And that was step one. And then it just kind of blossomed from that to, how do you close up your energy fields? Like, don't let people just take all your energy and then you feel crazy after. So I started reading books, doing energy practices. And God, the last 3 years feels like 10 years of progress because I started integrating different practices.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn and just be open, once again, saying yes when this stuff came into my awareness. Because for a long time, it was like, yeah, Pentecostalism isn't it, but this other stuff sounds like woo-woo or foolishness, because that's what I was conditioned to believe.
Yeah.
Now I just have a general respect for most religious organizations. I don't care if it's Christianity, Buddhism, Taoism, everything can teach me. And that's one of my core beliefs now. Because as I think back, where did I first learn about veganism, right? That was from the Rasta man when I was in Atlanta. Because they were talking about ITAL food. And I was like, ITAL? And they were talking about how the vegetables, and it's got to be aligned with your synergy and energy. And it's like, where did I first really learn how to pray in a way that was more structured than how I learned growing up? That was from my Muslim sisters and brothers of Clark. They would pray religiously. They didn't play. I don't care if we was in the middle of whatever. They went and handled their spiritual business. So I've always had the blueprint. I was just so jaded by my upbringing that I had to clean that up and let it go.
Yeah. That's so good, Linda. And all that you said resonates with me, particularly that we can find truth and support in so many spiritual traditions beyond the foundational traditions that we grow up with. And I just want for people to really get it. I know you said it wasn't about the physical weight, but I want you to name, if you are okay with naming it, how much weight was on you before you went through your journey of intentional healing.
God, it was so much weight. It was the weight of, knowing about people being sexually abused as a kid. It was the weight of all the physical loss. I've lost a lot of people in my lifetime before I got 15. It was the weight of some of the dogma of religion, like just watching how people navigated and still treated people shitty, and yet they got exalted. Never made sense to me. Then it was the weight of me being heavy and nobody even saying anything. It was like, do y'all not see that I'm 300 pounds, but yet you still giving me a plate like I'm Queen Tut? So all that turned into anger and rage and resentment. And all this stuff just kind of ate away at you. So gosh, it wasn't until I understood, and I tell you recently, like within the last year and a half, that my mind is in my mind. And I'll say it again. My mind is in my mind. My brain, I'm going to say brain. My brain is like a CP unit, right? Central processing unit. It doesn't belong to me. It just filters stuff all day long. And I get to grab what resonates and what is truly mine and hold it, or I get to let it filter out. And for most of my life, I was holding on to everything. You're too big. Your family's too poor. It's okay that he violated them. It's okay that they do this. It's okay that you don't have anything. It's okay that you're not supported. And I was holding on to that. So once I realized that, oh, that's not even my shit. Okay, let's go ahead and delete. And so I started paying attention more to the thoughts that were coming in. And that goes back to new spiritual practices like breathing and being intentional in meditation. Like, no, I don't believe any of that. And once I really got clear about what I believed in, who I believe in, what I pray about, it's just been like I want to call it like a whirlwind because it happened fast.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was the weight, because all that trauma that I listed manifested. How did I handle it? Eating. Maladaptive coping skill number one: overeating, stress eating. What did I call it when you just kind of go downstairs and you just rummage through your kitchen?
Yeah.
Mindless eating. Never paid attention to what you're eating. Then you look up, you're 300 pounds in 9th grade. You're 300 pounds in 12th grade.
Yeah.
So that's how it showed up. Or you start smoking cigarettes at 12, which I did.
Mm.
You're trying to cope. What are you coping with at 12 that you're smoking cigarettes? A lot. So it all becomes mental and emotional weight that nobody can see, I guess. But they see your body expanding and they don't know why. And then they turn a blind eye to like, oh, you just like being big. Oh, okay. Your mama. Okay. Sorry.
Sharing this,
that's obvious.
People need to hear your particular story and your journey, because my partner often reminds me that so much of the weight that people carry physically is to protect themselves, even though it's a slow death, right? Because we are trying to fill the gaps that trauma has stirred up in us, and we don't know how to even begin the journey. So I'm so glad that you're naming how it started. Now, when it comes to you having this spiritual support team, creating this ancestor altar, what do the ancestors mean to you? And what's the spiritual support team about?
The ancestors are my checks and balances, because they know I'll play my whole life. I'll play in people's face. I would do stuff that I just shouldn't do. So I have to be held accountable. And that goes back to the food addiction and the other addictions, no accountability. So when I go to my ancestral altar and start talking, they don't play with me. So I need that accountability. And also I just need to feel that love and support. It ain't always ass whooping. Most days it is. But oftentimes it's a hug. It's just a reminder that, you got to take a breath. You've been doing too much. You've been carrying too much lately. Sit down. What was the second part of the question?
The second part was, what is this spiritual support team about?
God, my spiritual support team. So here's what I'm still learning, right? I thought ancestors and like spirit guides were interchangeable. Because ain't nobody taught me nothing like this, right? This ain't where I came from. So when I'm learning that spirit guides and angels and ancestors are all different, I'm like, what? So I'm learning, I'm researching, I'm reading, I'm praying, I'm feeling what resonates with me and what don't. So they mean protection for me. They mean covering for me. Because once again, I'm one of those, I can be impatient. When I know what I finally want, then it's like, go. And they're like, let's slow it down. And I'm like a toddler, like, for what? Why do I got to slow down? So they're like, no, we're going to take it slow. We're going to be intentional and structured to make sure you truly have the lasting results that you want, versus what your life has looked like in the past of 20 hot starts and only 2 of them pan out. So yeah, the spirit guides and the angels be on me all the time. Yeah.
Ooh, you talking good. I want to call you Doc, like people be calling each other Doc in the Black church, but they don't be real doctors.
Don't get me started. You know, this week has been hot about it. Don't make me go there.
Go ahead and go there. We in conversation. This is a conversation. Look.
She called herself Doc. Okay, go ahead. I'm focused. Okay, I'm back.
So you have said so much. When it comes to the difference, when we name the energies that journey with us in this life, it reminds us that we aren't here alone. No. We don't do this alone, in addition to the families that we come through. And I think so many people who perceive ancestral honoring to be demonic is really because of that Christian traditional lens that they exists within that demonizes ancestral veneration when ancestral veneration is also biblical. It's in the text.
Out here talking about blood of Jesus. What
you
eating crackers?
look
Okay.
look.
That's one of the shit that's really gonna piss me off when I start talking religion is how they have completely disenfranchised us from like all our traditional African religions, Caribbean religions. Everything is witchcraft, whether it's voodoo, hoodoo, Santeria, everything is like no. And it's like you understand that the stuff that I do predates Christianity. You get that. You get that part. And this is where my therapist has worked with me extensively on not calling people dummy all the time. Because this is where I would look at folks like, you're a damn dummy. Like, I can't even talk to you because if you understand that, then what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Somebody brought Christianity to a predominantly Black place, and I'll just say the motherland for this conversation, in order to get you in compliance. And it worked. Go on out there and read Will and Inch. Read it. It works. It's still going on. And yeah, it's a whole rabbit hole, but that's why I had to disconnect because I knew. And my ancestral lineage was not going to play with me about following behind some organized religion that don't even respect you as a human.
Come on.
And that's why I love people like you who are still religious and in Christianity, but you are truly burning it down.
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys are burning it down and really making folks come clean, tell the truth, and shame the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's what we need. That's when I'll go back into a church building if somebody like you or some other folks I know are telling the whole truth and I don't hear on some, this is how it was since 1940. No, we good.
I'm with you on that, and I love how you named that ancestor honoring your altar is an access point into accountability.
Mm-hmm.
That is why we have altars, because we need to hold ourselves accountable, because we recognize that the responsibilities that we have require communal effort. It's not an individualistic way of navigating the world. You understand that you do this in community that's accessible here on earth, and the invisible, unseen community.
And this is where we're far behind. If people understood the sentence you just said, we would be further along as a community, and we're not because we don't believe that. Mm-hmm. Well, they don't believe that. I'm not with you. I don't know them. Mm-hmm. They don't believe it. They believe that everything has to be singular. So when I hear people battling like different denominations, I'm like, are you okay? Are y'all okay? Y'all are all Christian? Okay. So I love people, and I just move from a place of love, and I don't have time. Like my journey is serious right now, so I don't have time for foolishness. Go ahead.
I said, and you don't call them dummies anymore. You try not to.
I'm working on it. I'm not even gonna tell you that I don't. Cause I go Fred Sanford too, you big old dummy. Anywho. Oh, you know, I just go like, whew. So I have to just take a breath and remember, it's okay. It's okay. Mm-hmm. Everybody's journey lets me know that they're on time. Okay. Exactly. I had this conversation with my wife recently. You're never behind. And this is what I've learned from some of my friends that practice Buddhism. You can't live in what was or what's to be. If you're not present right now, then you're already missing out on life.
Absolutely. That's where our suffering comes from, our attachments to the past and to the future.
Yep. So we talk about it in my house. Like I can't worry about yesteryears, and I don't know what 10 years from now will look like. That doesn't mean I can't, do a general skeleton plan of what I want my life to look like. Because I can definitely send that out to the universe and get what I want. Yeah. If it's in alignment. But right now, I'm where I'm at right now. What brings me the most peace is going outside every day and just sitting in my rocking chair in the middle of my garden, praying, talking to my fruits and veggies, and taking it easy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that. You named some important. You named the angels. You named the ancestors. You named the support team. How do you know the difference between the three? Is there? I know for me, my access points to various energies that I work with, they feel different. My ancestors are a bit more soft than I am frequency that I connect with. It's more loud. It's more
thuggish. My ancestors are thuggish.
Exactly. So your ancestors are thuggish.
They're not gonna play with me. And they be like, listen, they that kind. Like I'm gonna hit you in your forehead. My spirit guides, I have to invite them in. Like they're always hovering. I could feel them, but if I don't invite them in daily, then they'll just be like, okay, we're gonna kick it until you let us know, because we have boundaries here. We're not gonna violate that. The angels, they normally show up when I'm really about to do something goofy. They're like, hey girl, what are we doing? And they're very tender, affirming. I wouldn't even call them firm. They're just like, yeah, we're gonna say what we say, and you're gonna have the choice to do what you want. Understand that it's gonna be a consequence if you don't listen. So they teach me how to take a breath and go, okay, all right, let me think through this and write it down and go center myself before I have to learn this lesson or start a pattern that's not healthy again. So
Yeah,
my
good.
ancestors be like, come here. They be like, come here, like they did when I was a kid. Come here, sit down. That's how they talk to me.
Snatch you up like that. They be like,
sit down. Don't say nothing. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I love that. These are for the people that need to be reminded that they are not crazy, because you're sensing things, feeling things. Some of you might be seeing things that other people wouldn't necessarily see, feeling things that other people necessarily wouldn't feel. You are not alone. And it comes to this word that you mentioned early on, is energy. We live in an energetic world. We are made up of energy. Energy can't be created or destroyed. When it comes to energy, and as I understand it, and you can correct me because I know you work a lot with energy, our auric field is a circumference of like 6 feet around us.
Correct.
Right? So we are not spirits living in a body. Our bodies live inside our spirits.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
So when it comes to energy, how are you naming energy? What have you learned about energy? How do you work with different energies?
It's a couple ways. I can look at people and see the colors around them. That's like my first indication what kind of energy they're in. Then I feel their energy. I feel it probably before I see your color. Like I can feel it in my body. So I have to make sure that my spiritual hygiene is up to snuff so I don't take on your nonsense. Okay. Another way I deal with energy is through just grounding and breathing with people. Like, yeah. And then now I'm learning how to close energy fields. Right. I'm reading this book. It's crazy work. It's actually stuff that I learned with Johnny. Right.
Yeah. Johnny is the kinesiologist that we work with.
Yeah. So now I'm learning that, you can literally close your energy field, which means people that you go around that feels like they drain you. That's because your energy field isn't secure. You don't have good boundaries there. Even with your best effort, even with your most credentials, you don't have good boundaries. So I'm reading a book on how to like close it up. And it's wow. It is so wow because it's so simple. And it all comes back to believing. You have to believe. You have to believe and have this intention that this is what I'm doing. I'm going to align my breath with my spine, with my heart chakra, with my head, and focus my breathing. And this is how I'm going to start shoring up those fields. So you can't penetrate that stuff no more and cause me pain. And you leave, and I'm sitting somewhere like, damn, I'm tired. I'm irritable. What happened? Because they took all your light and didn't replace it with nothing. She goes into like a whole different types of personalities. Yeah, I'll send you the name of the book. It's wow. Like,
send me the name of the book. What's the because you don't know the name offhand right now.
I'm reading 2 books. I'm reading one called Energy Code.
Energy Code.
Which that one is really like yikes. That one is really going into simple practices you can do sitting right here. So you never have to worry about your health, your finances. You can truly have the life you want. And all that other stuff that you've been indoctrinated with, you can remove it instantly. And the other one, what is it called? I'll find it. But both books are amazing. They are amazing. When you start getting into neuro stuff and energy work, it reminds me of laying of hands in Pentecostalism.
Yes, much like people.
Right. So, actually, like when they slap your forehead at the church.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And people start shaking and jumping around. Yeah. You can actually exchange that kind of energy, but you ain't got to do all that. And so it blows me that that's been demonized, but I watch you do it every Sunday, you know? But Reiki is another one. You can use your hands and you know. So that's where I live at, like working on energy, working on my energy, just being more aware, because for a long time I've been disconnected from self.
That's good.
So I'm coming back into myself and understanding, oh, okay, this is your true energy. Oh, that wasn't even your shit. Okay. You
Mm-hmm.
do care about that. You don't care about this. Okay. So it's a process of just being kind,
Yeah,
gentle, and just affirming it's okay. You're not late to the party. There's no such thing. That's the one of the biggest lies they've ever sold me.
it is an illusion.
You 44 years
Yeah.
old. You should know shit exactly for what you know. That's all you need to know. And when it's time, you'll know what you need to know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Agreed. Agreed. I
Yeah.
love how you described yourself earlier too, as your brain being like a CPU
Mm-hmm.
unit that you filter information, you decide what you hold on to, what you don't hold on to, what resonates, what you want to integrate.
Mm-hmm.
Much like what you're naming now in terms of how you um, uh, protect your energy after you figure out what's yours and what's not yours. When and you mentioned the phrase spiritual hygiene, which I think
Uh-huh.
speaks to everything that you named. What are the spiritual hygiene practices that you lean into as someone in a field where you're constantly working with people? You're working with the mind. You're
Mm-hmm.
working with thought patterns. You're working with not only them but the family systems that they are attached to as you do the work. How do you take care of yourself and close up those energy spaces that
Man,
are open because of the
listen,
people you've been working with?
it'd be a lot. The biggest one is grounding. You know me, I'm always barefoot. If I'm outside in a nice yard, I'm barefoot because I have to get that frequency. If not, I'm gonna be all over the place. The second will be prayer. I pray way more than I've ever prayed in my life because once I did that disconnection, I left prayer alone for a long time, right? Another practice would be awareness, just being aware of my own shit. So I give you a real example. I told you at the beginning of the conversation. This week I've been going through a healing because I never say I'm sick. I don't use that verbiage.
I love that.
So my wife had to do something and she couldn't give me what I needed. Maybe, I don't know, a popsicle, because my throat felt like it had swollen shut almost at one point this week. That old script started to spin like, see, nobody ever takes care of you. You always be doing the most for everybody else.
Mm.
So I had to become aware enough to stop that script in mid statement and honor that no, that's not real. She's busy and you just don't feel good. So just be patient and you'll get what you need. And once I was able to say that to myself, you move away from it. And I have to do that all the time because they're coming back. Those triggers
Mm.
are not going to go anywhere just because I've released it. Like, don't play yourself that way. Them triggers
It's
going to be
like,
triggering. And it's about how I respond. And if I do respond wrong at times, because I will, it is what it is,
mhm.
then I'm quicker to be like, you know what? I didn't mean that. Here's what I really meant, and forgive me for what I said out of whatever frustration, pain, anger, whatever I said it out of. It wasn't okay.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
those are the things that keep me sane. They keep me stable. They keep me grounded. Because I don't know it all. I will never know it all, even though at times I will act like a know it all. I said it.
You were saying just what
What we do? Like, what? I know it all, girl. But I have to be honest and be like, I don't know. I don't know. Because I'm
Mhm.
learning that being able to say, I don't know, I don't want to be like this false person out here talking about I'm a doctor because you wanted to know it all.
Yeah,
You liked what you were getting. And I
that's real.
don't need all that. I don't need all that. Mm-mm.
That's real. Hmm.
Yeah.
Grounding, being self-aware, taking responsibility and ownership
Prayer.
when it's yours, when you made a misstep, apologizing. Those are all solid
Oh, throw in eating cleaner. I eat pretty clean
practices.
now. My diet had to play a role because you can't eat trash and
Mm.
act like you clean. It don't work that way.
Talk to me about your shift in diet, because that is a big part of releasing the weight, the physical weight, the spiritual weight, the emotional weight. Talk to
Hmm.
us about it, because it also is one of your specialties in terms of um,
Yeah.
yeah, we got to
Very.
talk
What
about the
what
work
is
that
the
you
title?
do.
Bariatric. I'm a bariatric practitioner.
Yes.
Bariatric counselor. Something like that. What that mean is I work with a lot of folks that are looking for weight loss surgery or just really trying to sort out how to lose weight. So with my diet, I seen What the Health, which probably came out 9, 10 years ago, and it was so disgusting. I was like, okay, I'm vegan overnight. The issue was a lot of the stuff that I was eating was trash. I was eating Oreos and popcorn and potato chips and mock meat. I still hadn't got back to the basics. I grew up on a farm where everything was fresh. I wasn't eating fresh fruits, fresh vegetables. I was drinking coffee, alcohol, all the things. God, so I feel like every year for several years, I had to give up something major. In 19, I quit smoking cigarettes cold turkey.
Mm.
Maybe a year or two later, gave up alcohol. Maybe a couple years before 19, I actually went vegan and gave up dairy because I was still eating dairy, but I wasn't eating any other animal products. So I cleaned up all that. Then I understood what one of the real problems was sugar. And
Mm.
not just cakes and cookies and candy, but I'm talking bread. I love bread. I love potato chips. Then I had to really break down what fruit's good, what vegetables are good, all the things. So I had to go deep, and that's when I got into my herbalism journey. And herbal teas have changed my life. So now I drink 4 cups of that a day, 2 to 3 liters of water a day, and I probably eat way less than I've ever eaten in my life. Not to a point of starvation. I eat pretty good. Now, like, let's be clear, but I just don't feel the need to eat all that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it's
This
like
is
if I'm drinking tea and water and eating avocados and other stuff that I would have never ate as a kid, collard greens, I never ate that stuff growing up. I thought it was weird. It smelled funny. So if I'm able to eat all that, then guess what? I'm okay with asking my wife to make me a pan of biscuits
mm-hmm.
because I'm gonna eat them too. And I just had to learn it's about balance. And when I'm emotionally triggered, I know certain foods I just can't eat because I'm gonna overdo it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's been a big part of the last 5 years for me. Like just getting in balance, taking my teas serious, making my own tinctures, being basically my own test dummy. It's like I'm not trying to market anything to anybody until I can have proof of what I'm saying. And when I put that picture up a few months ago of the 5 year journey, it was kind of like, whoa, I didn't even
Yeah.
recognize myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
strong.
I'm at the smallest weight I've ever been in my adult life.
Wow. That's
Yep.
beautiful. I've
It
been
is.
inspired by your journey.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
It's a journey for you all that are viewing. Please go make sure you follow Linda on Instagram at Free Your Mind Consultant LLC. Go check her out on Facebook at Free Your Mind Counseling and Consulting, and make sure you follow her on YouTube at Free Your Mind CC. Please, because she has a story and has tools to support you in your well-being. Now, I want to go back to you
Hmm.
and your spiritual journey
Okay.
and how your perception of God has shifted since you were growing up in
Hmm.
Pentecostalism to now. How do you see God? How do you relate to God now?
I am God.
Don't make me run.
Listen, I've been saying it for the past 6, 7 years. I'm God. Like once that connection was made, that everything I need is within me. Like there's nothing I need to seek outside of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like once I embodied that and I really got away from, ooh, girl, you can't think that way. What will people think? Because I said it to my mom. You know, my mom's a missionary. Okay. Been a missionary for 80 years, probably at this point. She was like, what's saying that? She just laughs at me because she doesn't get it. But she does get that I'm not saying that I'm the Jesus that she believes to be God. But I'm letting her know that I don't need anything externally that way because I am God. I'm able to heal my body. I'm able to free my mind. I'm able to manifest any and everything that I've ever wanted in my life. So who would be able to do that if you weren't God? You know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this is where I'm at. I'm God, and I said it enough that my kids don't cringe anymore. But you know, Lyndon was like, "Oh, mama, that might be a little woo." And once I explained it to him, he was like, "It makes sense." He
Mm-hmm.
might not ever say that out loud. But being on the journey I've been on, it's like, no, I'm good. I'm God. And I'm not saying I'm the God. You don't have to ever pray to me. Please don't. Please don't pray to me because I'm
Mm-hmm.
not that God.
Mm-hmm.
But I know based off who I am and what I need in life, it's all on me in the
Mm.
most healthiest way. Not in a I got to get it out the mud energy,
Yeah.
but I got a whole spirit team and I don't do this alone energy. And once that really stuck and resonated and my dad started coming through and I found out he was an alchemist, things that I didn't know about him, it was like, yeah, I'm finally home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finally home. So even on my worst day, when I question myself and I doubt, I never doubt that I won't get what I want done or what I need to get done. I might have to slow down, take a different route. I might have to switch the whole plan up. And that's fine too. As long as I keep saying yes when I need to say yes, it all works out.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm God. And I say it with my chest out, and folks normally get quiet and be like, oh, conversation don't really go too long because they be like, oh, she one of them. And I'm like, well, who was one of them? What you
The
saying?
devil got a mind. The devil got a mind, even though it's in your Bible. So let's talk about John 10, right? Let's talk
Okay.
about
You got
John
to
10.
remind me. I ain't read no Bible in about 20
Look,
years.
look, that's why I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna bring it back. So John, which is this is one of the most liberating connections that I experienced in my early 20s, going to Hillside Truth Center. Shout out to Dr. Barbara King, may she rest in power, who was the founder of that institution. That really supported me in getting free from the religious dogma that I grew up in. But being in Bible study with Dr. Rocco Errico, who was both fluent in Aramaic and also Hebrew, him going through the text and lifting up John 10, where Jesus is talking to the Pharisees, and the Pharisees are accusing him of blasphemy because he's identifying as a son of God.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus says in that text, well, aren't we all gods? And he's referring to Psalm 82:6, where it says we are gods.
Yep.
And so you're not saying anything that's not biblical, even though people may name it as not founded in the sacred text of the Bible.
Right.
But I think it is very much aligned with who Jesus was.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get an opportunity to do these and greater things if you don't believe yourself to be God. You don't get an opportunity to walk on water like Jesus. You don't get an opportunity to turn water into wine. Like all of these things that Jesus was doing, we all should be doing, because he is not an exception to what it means to be human. He is an example.
Exactly.
It's setting some people free right now. Yeah, so thank you for
naming. I had to name it because that fear of being taught that you are basically, what was the prayer that I would hear almost every Sunday? Lord, I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
Oh, that would touch my soul in the worst way every time I heard it. And I was like, why would I say that to somebody that's supposed to protect me? Mm-hmm. Make it make sense. And it never could, never would. And folks have, as I asked the question as I got older, it would always be, oh, well, you can't be so literal. You just literally said that you're not worthy of wholeness, wellness, healing, salvation, but you begging in church. I don't beg or beseech. I won't.
Talk about it. So how do you pray since you don't beg and beseech?
I pray like I'm talking to you. Mm-hmm. I swear, I pray like I'm talking to you. I don't care if I'm angry, if I'm sad. I just start talking. It's like a real conversation. I don't do all that performative nonsense. I don't feel like I have to have the perfect setting. It's just when Spirit tells me it's time, you need to go ahead and go into prayer. I could be sitting outside playing spades on my phone, and the Spirit say you need to pray. I put the phone down. If I'm at my altar, they'll give me insight on what I need to be doing. But it's a conversation because I'm an equal. I'm not less than. So why would I be in there begging and fake crying and all the other stuff? I'm not. I'm not. So I say what I need to say. I receive the feedback, whether I like it or not. Because my yes is my yes. Because oftentimes the feedback is, you need to get your shit together. And I'm like, okay, girl. Well, that's what I was thinking, but you didn't have to say it that way. But okay, I hear you. Got it. And I have to take a moment and be like, check your ego. Because my ego be like, I ain't got to do nothing but stay black and die. And it's like, there you go. Go ahead, repeat that pattern. That took you 8 years to come out of, fool. Go ahead. And I'm like, oh, we good. And so I have to I learned sacrifice, not even sacrifice. That's not the right word. Surrender. That was a big one for me. Surrender felt like, just the word. I would be like, I'm not doing that. So once I surrendered and understood that my team got me, it's not about control of me. It's for my best interest. And it was up from that point. So yeah, I don't carry stuff that's too heavy. I surrender it. I release it. I have them transmuted. I ain't got time to walk around and be 50 and 60 years old with all kind of medical conditions that are related to trauma or related to some sort of mental health stuff. I don't got time for that. So yeah, that surrender was a big one. That release, that transmutation, and understanding and making peace with the fact that everybody wasn't going to understand my journey. People that I've known my whole life were going to look at me like, oh, she on that other shit. And guess what I am? You can join, you can ask questions and find out if it resonates with you, or you can still go back to what's familiar. As
That's
I tell my wife all the time, one of my favorite phrases, and she hates it. I was like, girl, you know, people fight every day to stay the same.
mm-hmm.
And I ask myself that every day, are you fighting to stay the same?
Every day people fight to say the same. It's true. That's a word.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Because when the answer was yes for me, I was like, oh, hell no. We're not doing that. Scratch that. And that
Mm-hmm.
awareness kicked in. So once that awareness shows up, it was over. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing the same thing I was doing 5 years ago for what? Just because I've been doing it for 5 years?
Yeah.
You think you intelligent? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I've been going through that. And that's why I stay out the way. People be like, where you be at home? You know, before the plane tickets got high, I'd be somewhere on the beach somewhere trying to rejuvenate myself. But it's been a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I love that you mentioned, even though you shifted to surrender, I love that you mentioned sacrifice because I believe that surrender is a type of sacrifice. You have to
Mm,
sacrifice what's most familiar at times to
yeah.
surrender. You have to sacrifice what's comfortable at times to
Hmm.
surrender. You
Yeah.
have to sacrifice what you know for the unknown to
Mm,
surrender. And so
absolutely.
I'm so glad that you mentioned surrender and sacrifice. This is a whole nother shift.
And you know, that's why I pivoted because that one I'm still processing. That sacrifice, I don't like it. That pisses me off more than surrender. I don't. My energy be like, nope, nope.
Sacrifice. There's somebody else that's resonating with that too. Talk to me about it.
Sacrifice feels unnecessary. It's like, why the hell I gotta do that?
Mm,
Like, why? It goes back to my upbringing that, oh, you sacrificed your life so I can be this peasant and beg and beseech. So that's how I've tied sacrifice. So I had to untie that and I'm still working on it. So, whew, sacrifice. I'd be like, okay,
well,
so I can surrender.
that's helpful. Because I think so many of us, particularly those of us that grew up in traditional Christianity, when we
Hmm.
think of Jesus sacrificing, we think of martyrdom, right? When
Yeah,
Jesus was the victim of, at least to me, state sanctioned murder. He
correct.
was killed because he was willing to sacrifice his safety. So he sacrificed his safety in
Hmm.
order to be able to expand consciousness in the times that he was living in. He sacrificed being isolated.
Hmm.
He sacrificed going
Betrayal.
along to get along and being liked.
Yeah,
Um,
I ain't sacrificing none of that.
yeah,
I don't even like y'all like that. Like, no. And that's how I pray. Like, Lord, I don't even like these people like that. I don't even care for humans like that. You want me to sacrifice what for who? And spirit be like, okay, we're gonna try this again another day because
mhm,
clearly you're
mhm,
not here for it today. And that's
mhm,
what comes up because that was a huge sacrifice. The stuff you just listed, mm-mm,
yeah,
nope, can't do it. So I'm learning that that's not what is being requested of me. That is still me untying some of those old indoctrinations. That's it.
yeah,
And I
absolutely.
just have to be honest about what shows up and when it shows up. Because some days it's strong. It's like, hell no. But most days it's like, it's like, okay, what's the hesitation? Tap
Mhm.
in. And then I tap in with myself and I'm able to move forward.
Yeah, that's real. Now, this is a shift from this conversation around spirituality
Hmm.
because there are not too many people that get to have access into same gender loving folks' lives who are married.
Yep.
And you mentioned your wife multiple times. Talk to me.
Mhm.
How long have you been married? And what have you learned through being married to another woman?
So in dog years, I've been married probably 80 years. In lesbian years, I'm about 50 years. But in real years, we've been married 13 years and we've been together 19 years total.
Mhm,
What have I learned? I've learned that your closest relationships are your mirrors.
mhm,
So a lot of the stuff that I'm on her neck about changing, it wasn't about her. It was reflecting my reflection showing up, and I didn't want to deal with it.
mm,
And once I got that connection, it was like, oh, so she perfect as she is. It's like, yeah, that's you, big dog.
mm,
And it was like, oh,
mm,
okay. So because you went to school and you thought you got this degree and you got this job that you were better, you were great. No,
mm,
no. So that was one of the biggest lessons. Also, it taught me, gosh, I think my personality, the way I say things are problematic at times. as she says it, I'm vinegar. My therapist said this too. I gave her the middle finger in the session for the record. She was like, I wouldn't describe you as vinegar. And it really offended me. I was like, what? She was like, yeah, you just
Vinegar is rough. Ooh, vinegar make you go like.
Right. Right. So I got two people that I've been rocking with for a long time telling me I'm vinegar. So I had to sit with that, and I had to go, yeah, that was still some of your defense mechanisms kicking in. That was I call it skunk juice. So if you get too close and I start spraying that vinegar, you ain't coming around. You ain't coming around. You ain't gonna do too much. So that was the big piece. And then I learned that I had to be open. Just because you are in therapy, just because you are trained in mental health, just because doesn't mean you're open. You came with your own shit. And because I was a great protector of a lot of women in my life for different reasons, I didn't protect me. I didn't see me. I didn't understand me. So I had to now form a new relationship with Linda and then have to be open to my wife being able to show up the way she needs to show up for me. Instead of having some unrealistic demand that had nothing to do with her capabilities, but everything to do with me maintaining the narrative of, see, ain't nobody gonna take care of you. See, you're not gonna ever be supported. So once I figured out that pattern, it was like, oh, this is wild over here. So yeah, 19 years, man. Like, and then we had to get real clear about some things like divorce. Divorce ain't on the table. We 19 years in it, dog. We're gonna figure out how to deal with it. We're gonna figure out the root cause and excavate it and chop it up and cook it and move around. We had to understand what's some of the conflict styles. That was a big one for us because our conflict styles are very different. For me, if you get too loud, I'm gonna shut down. The other opposite of me shutting down is me turning up way too much, which would shut her down. So we had to learn each other's styles because now we're finally getting to see each other after so many years because we were too, what's the word? We weren't broken. I don't believe people are broken, but we were basically two souls on a similar path, pushing each other to where they had to be. And I think now we are both where we have to be. So now we get to like see each other, embrace the quirkiness, embrace the foolishness, the good stuff, the stuff that gets on your nerves. The 80-20 rule. I have an 80-20 rule. If she meets 80% of my standards, why the hell am I worried about 20? I'm not. I'm not. I'm not going to waste my relationship over 20%. If she chew a little loud or if her feet smell like corn chips, like, is it really cause for divorce, people?
Yeah.
So those are the things that being married taught us. And also that we can't shrink and hide because society still has such a disdain for LGBTQI folks. Like, people still look at us crazy, and it's like, we've been doing this for a long time. If I want to hold her hand in public, I will. If I want to give her a kiss right now, just like you gave your wife a kiss, sir, mind your business. Don't try to refer to her as my friend if we're at a family function, because I'm going to cuss your ass out. She's been around for 19 years. We ain't no friends. We got two kids. One's about to be 21. One's about to be 14. So we had to have that conversation. We're not downplaying who we are to make other people comfortable. We just do our thing, man. Like, we get each other, we support each other. And humor is probably one of the biggest things in our marriage that has saved everything.
Nice.
You know me, because she ignorant. I'm ignorant. So the stuff we say to each other, some people will be like, wow, y'all need to go there. But this is just one of our love languages. We're goofy.
Yeah.
So yeah, now the unfortunate part being in Charlotte, I don't know too many married couples or even long-term couples that want to extend their network. So that's been a issue. It was even an issue in Atlanta. Like, where y'all hiding at? What we doing? We need to build a compound. Yeah, let's get some land and build a compound and raise these babies and grandbabies and have fun. That's where I be at.
I love it. Thank you for sharing your wisdom insight from a 19-year relationship, marriage for 13 years. And it's not gay wisdom that you offered. It's not gay insight that you offer. It is insight that you offer from being with another human being and how to do this thing together, how to make it last.
Right.
And that's wisdom that anybody can use that's in a relationship, because those that are closest to us are our mirrors. And oftentimes the fingers that we are pointing at are fingers that are pointing right back at us. About to do our deeper work. So thank you for for sharing that. This is my next to last question.
Okay.
Because I want people to have access to this conversation and things that they generally wouldn't hear about or talk about. You are somebody who is certified as an MDMA practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
You are licensed to be able to give this particular psychotropic medication to folks to support them in their wellness. Talk to us about what MDMA treatment is and any other plant-based medicines that you use in your treatment with individuals that you work with, and how this connects to their human evolution and spiritual revolution.
MDMA. Let me put a couple disclaimers up. I can only do it in states where it's legal. Okay, so North Carolina, unfortunately, is not one, even though I got certified in this state, right? Oxymoron. So, what is MDMA? I am not about to try to pronounce that word and sound ignorant. I'm gonna give you the street name. MDMA is Molly. Okay,
Yes.
so it is a pharmaceutical
Ecstasy
grade
also.
of Molly that they've made that's very potent. And you take a certain dose. You got to have a therapist and a nurse in the room. And these folks put a blindfold on, and within 30 minutes, they start unlocking pieces of their brain that they've closed off to protect themselves for years.
Mhm.
So it's been very helpful for survivors of sexual violence, for people from the military that's seen physical violence, um, PTSD survivors, folks that have dealt with the worst of the worst traumas. Those are the folks that really like have transformed their life and are able to do basic things like go outside and feel safe in their community, or be able to speak to their spouse in a way to share their thoughts, feelings, and emotion. That's the standard one with MDMA. What else do? I do psilocybin, which is they also call that magic mushroom. That one is more for the spiritual transformation. That's the folks that are trying to, they talk about ego death and all that jazz. I'm not going to get into all that. But these are the people who want to meet their highest version of themselves. They want to truly let go of all the pain, the struggle, the drama, and live in namaste is what I call it. Just be grateful. Living in a different energy. You don't carry all that weight and heaviness. That one could be, you could do it at home, you could do it outside, you can microdose it. Both have been around for, well, let me say it this way. Psilocybin has been used for hundreds of years in spiritual practices. MDMA has been used in spiritual practices, but now they're making it in pharmacies, in a lab. So that's my hiccup with that one. It's not necessarily plant medicine anymore. Psilocybin is plant medicine. They're trying to replicate and duplicate it in the lab, and it's been very challenging so far. Either one of these can truly change your life. Couple more disclaimers. If you know you're predisposed to psychosis, don't do either one. Just don't. If you know that you are in like a heavy depression season, don't do it. Because there are certain things that this medicine can unlock in your brain that you can't secure again, or you might not have the skills in that moment because you're so free and so lucid. I've never had a bad experience with it with patients. I've seen patients that are, this one guy in particular, he was a vet. If a car backfired, he would truly be somewhere with a gun ready to shoot it up. And now he's able to go outside. He's able to practice shooting again. He's able to hear loud stuff and not cringe because his brain was able to kind of heal that piece that was damaged from the war. So I got involved because, once again, they like to take our stuff and market it and make money off of it, right? The people that do MDMA or magic mushrooms or psilocybin, or even what's the other one, peyote, all those are people of color. So you're essentially taking all these indigenous practices once again, and you're going to monetize it as soon as the FDA says it's clear. And I need to be in that group on the forefront. Like, I need to make sure my community knows that these still work. They work way before us, and they're going to work way after us.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. I can't do too much because I live in North Carolina, but I do have connections with friends in different states that are thriving. They've been doing it for years now. It's still kind of Harriet Tubman-like to me right now. It's still underground, even in states where it's legal. Because the government hadn't figured out how to monetize it.
Absolutely. That's
so. Now, once Uncle Sam figure out how to get them tax money out you, everybody go get some. But right now, no, you can't do it.
Thank you for sharing that. I remember years ago being at a psychedelic chaplaincy training, and they were
Mm-hmm.
talking about MDMA treatment, and that was maybe like 7 or 8 years ago. So I'm grateful that you're certified
Mm-hmm.
for people in states where it's legal to be able to have access to it.
Yep.
As someone who definitely uses psilocybin in sacred space for
Mm-hmm.
my own spiritual wellness and development and healing, it has what a friend of mine said years ago, which resonates with me. One sitting or one journey,
Mm-hmm.
5 to 10 years worth of therapy.
Correct.
In terms of how potent plant medicine can be when you are doing
Mm-hmm.
it with intention, when you are doing it clear-minded.
Correct.
So thank you for naming that. This is my last question for those who are watching. What wisdom or encouragement would you offer them who's just beginning their spiritual journey?
I think the first encouragement would be congratulations. I'm glad you got here. It's fun here. It's not always easy, but it's fun. The second one is pray to get clear about what works for you, like
Mhm.
what truly speaks to your spirit, not what's been familiar for X amount of weeks, days, months, years, but when you sit and think about it, what brings up joy for you on your spiritual journey? For me, it was being outside. I always knew this. So now I understand my connection with plants and herbs and all the things because it's the earth frequency for me that keeps me grounded. Other encouragement, you're not late. You're on time. You're absolutely on time. And if something resonates, especially if it's that quiet voice when you're praying, meditating, or even if you're crying and something just pops in your mind, that's typically insight. That's typically a download. Listen to it and just move. Move. Say yes and move with intention. You don't need to know the plan. You don't need to know how it's going to look, how it's going to work out. You just know that it will work out. It's going to work out. Every time you have the doubt come up, figure out what works for you when doubt shows up. For me, it's prayer. For me, it's also reflecting back. When has your spirit team not had your back? When have you been left destitute? When have you been left sick and shut in? When? When have you not known how to heal yourself?
Mhm.
So those are the things that I would say as a newbie on your spiritual journey. Just take it easy. Be kind to yourself, especially when you start sharing, because people are gonna hurt your feelings and say, "Uh oh, here she go," or "Uh oh, this ain't even gonna be long term. I'll give it a couple weeks solid." So the other piece, that's the last piece I would say, was keep it to yourself.
Mm.
Everybody don't need to know what you're doing, and that's where that real trust is activated when you go quiet and it's only you and who you believe in and who you pray to. Your ancestors, spirit guides, angels, you talking and communing with all them. That's it. They'll let you know when it's time to share because then you'll be strong enough to be like, okay, now I feel more confident sharing my journey and not worried that you would sabotage it. Because folks are jelly or jealous. You know,
Mhm.
they want what you got. They want what you're doing because they don't have their shit together. So how dare you get your life together without them? So let me sprinkle a little hate on your situation, and then you believe it, and here we go back to square zero. Yeah, understand silence is not suppression. Silence is truly about getting clear. I believe silence is clarity for me. So when I'm quiet and silent, I normally come back clearer than a bell, like, oh, okay. So that's what that was about. But if I start talking too much, getting everybody's opinion, it takes forever to get clarity. So yeah, that will be it.
Mhm. Such good wisdom, such deep wisdom. I am glad to call you friend. I'm proud to call you friend. Thank you for joining me for this conversation. And for those of you that have lasted to the end, you've tapped in periodically here and there. Thank you for watching. I hope that you all will join us for our next conversation that will air every Wednesday at 5 a.m. So you all know where you can access it at KYNDversation on YouTube. That's where you can watch the full clip. Thank you again, Linda, for joining us.
Thank
And
you.
we look forward to seeing you all soon. Peace.